I just love starting off with that. That is our session. Actually, the session that I created in collaboration with Positive Prime. That session is called Your Thriving Life. My name is Susie Vine. I'm so happy to have the opportunity to share this program with you in these materials. Let me go ahead and stop sharing my screen now. Hi there, and thank you again for joining me. I would love to know what was your favorite slide that you saw there as they were flashing by. That was at a fairly high rate of speed. One of the features of the sessions in Positive Prime is that you can choose the speed that you watch your sessions in. They can be as long as 60 minutes. They can be as short as 3 minutes. I had this one set on the 10-minute speed and actually had it running for a bit before I started recording. So that is not quite all of the images you would see in a full session, but close, sort of close. We were about maybe halfway through. So to give you an idea, and I always find it fascinating to see what image has stuck with me after I've watched a session. And after you've seen a session a number of times, you'll even find you start anticipating finding some of your favorites. I call it hunting for Easter eggs, looking for those really delicious pictures that just light you up for whatever reason. One of my favorites is a bunny rabbit chewing on a daisy. I always love pictures of kids with great big smiles, leaping in the air, taking superhero poses. Sometimes the affirmation might be something that lands or, comes back to me later in the day. So I am here to give you kind of an overview, a bird's eye view of what exactly is Positive Prime? What are the benefits of working with this piece of transformative technology? Why it is worth integrating into your daily practice, why positivity itself is worth taking a stand for and making a part of your life. The benefits, not only of feeling better, but that ripple out to impact your community and your work that you're creating in the world. Positivity actually paves an easier path towards the success that you are aiming for. And I'm going to get into all of that as we continue on, sharing some insights from the field of positive psychology, information coming from neuroscience and the power of neuroplasticity, and again, talk about why Positive Prime is able to integrate all of these and create such a powerful tool that is so easy to use. This is also being created in conjunction with the launch of a brand new opportunity. Positive Prime is now making available a 30-day free zero commitment trial. And so we are launching through a Facebook group, a community where we can all come together and participate, cheer each other on. Again, look and explore into what are some of these treasures inside of Positive Prime, what makes it so valuable, and integrate using this platform through the course of 30 days to make it part of a daily practice so that you can really see and feel the tangible benefits that a habit like this can create in your life. So I do have some other slides I'm going to share to illustrate the points that I have. So let me get those slides queued up. And I will go ahead and go back to a shared screen here as we take a look at what is in store. So working smarter and not harder is probably not a concept that is new to you. It's certainly something I've heard a lot, something that my husband groans when he hears me say it, because I hate to see him work so hard. Sometimes when we are in the thick of things, when we are pushing through, perhaps that's what we were trained to do, perhaps we were taught by our parents that all good things come through hard work, that money requires effort. Sometimes we approach these with this old school mentality, but there is a way to work smarter and not harder. And one of those secret ingredients, one of that golden keys that we can use to our advantage is actually happiness. How exciting is that? However, some people, as soon as they hear happiness is involved, they want to change the channel. Happiness can actually be kind of triggering to some people. It doesn't feel like a state of being that comes naturally. In fact, some people are always in search of happiness and feel it's very elusive. Some people struggle for different reasons. There's even biological situations that make it harder to enjoy happiness. And that feeling of positivity that you're going to hear me talk about a lot through the course of this conversation. I want to start by saying that biologically, we are wired as humans not to respond to happiness. We might enjoy happiness, we might live in search of that kind of reward, but we are wired to respond to stress. Stress has really important biological purposes and biological effects in our bodies to teach us to respond, to move away from the dangers and the threats that could harm us. Stress is a powerful teacher and motivator. It keeps us from repeating mistakes. It keeps us growing and moving forward. When we can change our perception of it and start to see that stress has its benefits, it has its purpose in life, it is not here to create and to shape everything in our lives. We can actually use it to our advantage. And when we recognize that stress does not need to be debilitating, stress does not need to make us weak. Stress, when we recognize it, when we use it to our advantage, when we make sure we have the opportunity to rest and feel restored and strengthen and build our resilience to meet the next stressful event, can actually make us stronger and again help us reach our goals. So mindset is another one of those things. Perhaps people feel like they've heard enough of that, but mindset has a lot to do with it. So let me tell you a little bit about myself if you haven't met me before. Again, my name is Susie Vine. I am a stress resolution or stress transformation coach. It is my very own title. Actually, I'm a certified stress management coach because that's the popular tag for working people to help them change the impact of stress in their lives. I am the host and the creator of the Happified podcast, where I interview experts in mindset, positivity, well-being, health, to shine a light on how we can live life with less stress and more flow. Personally, I'm passionate about helping people recognize that we can be empowered in how we show up to stress. And I started working with this power of positivity, actually started employing neuroplasticity before it was even out of the pages of research journals. I made a pivot about 5 years ago to dig into holistic health when I became passionate about this message that I knew had to come out into the world, that we deserve to live healthier and happier now, and that only helps us create the futures that we're going to love stepping into. But 25 years ago when I was in college, I was a theater student studying design and technology. I was working in the scene shop, building sets, painting late into the night after I finished my classes and my studies, and I was working in a restaurant serving tables to make money to pay rent for my off-campus apartment. I was working a lot, and it was really overwhelming. And I learned when I was serving tables, my energy would be low when I'd come into work. I would already be tired. I'd have to rally myself. I'd have to lift my spirit so that I could be engaging and energized when I met my tables, because we all know that good service brings better tips. And what I was doing without recognizing it is training myself to stay in a more positive state. Rather than expend the extra energy, that activation energy, to lift my mood, I taught myself to stay in a more positive state. And it helped me to kind of sail through with a little less of those ups and downs. At that point, 30 years ago, neuroplasticity was brand new. A lot of people thought it wasn't possible, that our brains could expand, grow, recover, literally rewire themselves after a certain age. We thought at young adulthood our brains were what they were, and all we could do was try to maintain and mitigate loss. Now we understand that so much more is possible. So I just want to share with you that perhaps you have been doing your own experiments in positivity, in shaping your mood, in choosing what you focus on and what you want to promote in your life without consciously making that choice. And now, as we recognize, we can become more conscious in the choices that we are making. So now in my work, helping people transform their relationships with stress, I tend to work with high achievers, people who know that they want to reach success, but are tired of feeling sick and tired, are tired of waking up on Monday wishing it was Friday. That's some pretty easy math. Wishing away 5 out of 7 days of the week, how is that the way that we want to live? I know how it feels because I have been there. And I've chosen to change my life so that every day is an adventure that I love waking up to. Not everyone can make the same big choices that I did, but we can start making changes where we are. So let's get down to some business. First of all, I want to validate, again, like I said, we are wired to respond to stress. It is a powerful teacher, and our perception of it. If you are asked to give a presentation to a group, what generally comes along with that? The sweaty palms, maybe the shallow breathing, some butterflies in the stomach, feeling a little lightheaded, you feel your digestion, your stomach might cramp up a little bit. And we know that that's stress. A lot of us might call that stage fright. You can actually reframe that. What if those sweaty palms are just a response of your body sending energy so that you have it available to take action? If you need to take flight, you can. If you need to stand tall and own the stage, you can do that too. Those butterflies in the stomach, this change in digestion is actually your blood flow changing from your digestion to your major organs, again, so that to your major muscles, so that you can take action if you need it. You can see that your body is responding to be able to answer any situation. Your gaze, your attention narrows to exactly what is at hand. That actually is your brain training in on what you need to be able to respond to and putting all resources there so you can take faster and more accurate action. So now you're ready to answer your audience and be present and command the stage. So if you make those shifts, you can already see that stress can be transformed through perception. But most of us have a lot of negative thoughts throughout the course of the day. It's estimated that up to 80%, at least easily over 50% of the thoughts that we have every day are negative. We call those automatic negative thoughts, ANTs, or those pesky ants, and they take up a lot of awareness and a lot of energy. You might have heard it said that bad experiences are like Velcro and good experiences are like Teflon. Again, going back to that wiring that we respond to stress. But through neuroplasticity, we actually have the power to rewire our brain to put more attention on positive experiences, in those positive emotions, so that we spend more time with those. We can actually make those good experiences stickier. So, what if there's a better way and an easier way? What if we can apply neuroscience and positive psychology without even getting mired down in the research to rewire your brain to feel happier? Shawn Achor says happiness is a work ethic. And if you're not familiar with Shawn's work, he's the author of The Happiness Advantage, and Before Happiness, he is a well-renowned TEDx speaker. His talk is called The Happy Secret to Better Work, and a very, very funny speaker. I highly recommend his TEDx talk. So why is happiness worth the effort? You might be asking yourself. Here are some insights. Now, first, we'll talk about the health benefits because we tend to correlate stress with cardiovascular disease. Stress is now seen to be directly related to type 2 diabetes because the cortisol released in stress actually spikes our blood sugar, again, to facilitate response in case we need to run or take flight. Unfortunately, we're usually sitting at a desk, so those blood sugar spikes aren't doing us any benefits. In fact, they start to lead to insulin resistance. And as we know, that can ultimately progress to being type 2 diabetes. So, beyond better health, beyond being more likely to live late into your years, even into your 90s, it boosts our energy to not be tied down to stress. It helps us to maintain our immunity, and we have better social relationships because when we're stressed, we tend to withdraw. And we really benefit. We really are designed to be connected in society. Beyond those benefits, the benefits in health or in business, in our professions, are really remarkable. And why is this the case? Barbara Fredrickson is a terrific researcher, and she has identified or illustrated the broaden and build concept. And that is that when we have a positive affect, when we are in a positive state of being, as opposed to being stressed out. As I was saying, when you're stressed, your focus is very narrow. But when we are not stressed, when we are relaxed, that perception broadens to take in everything that is in our environment. We literally have more access to positive emotions. We're more open to exploration. We're able to look for creative and flexible solutions and respond in even unpredictable new ways. So we can really have the benefit of creative problem solutions, and those help us move towards greater success. So you don't see that people are 40% more likely to receive a promotion only because people enjoy working with them more, but because they're more open to feedback from their teams. They integrate these solutions and actually help to do better work, more engaged in work, 3 times more creative. Creativity is becoming such a recognized benefit inside and outside of the workplace. 31% higher productivity, 37% higher sales, and here's another interesting one. Doctors are found to be 19% more fast and accurate at making diagnoses when they are in a positive rather than a neutral or negative state of mind. So there are some benefits to happiness, even if it doesn't feel like it comes naturally to you. Now, Martin Seligman is often kind of regarded as the father of positive psychology. His work at the University of Pennsylvania is well regarded. It is one of the top programs. And his current evaluation, the benefits of well-being, he calls flourishing. And there are 5 important aspects of flourishing. You see them here: positive emotion, engagement, relationships, meaning and purpose and accomplishment. Now, a lot of these things sometimes we find outside of ourselves. Sometimes our meaning might be reflected back by the way that people receive our work. Sometimes our accomplishment seems to wait for other people's compliments or promotions, that external validation. When we start to recognize that we can be responsible for this, that we can tune into our natural talents, our skills, we can work with those instead of only focusing on things that need to be fixed. We can engage in fulfilling and connected relationships, being socially engaged, and having positive emotions. These are all important to have that comprehensive state of well-being, and many of these are reflected in the images of the Positive Prime sessions. As you'll recall from the video at the top of our session today, you saw social groups. You saw people being engaged in lifestyle activities, exercise, or even being in service, volunteering, working together, younger generations supporting older generations. You see people in relationship and socially engaged, and you see those bright, beautiful smiles. We'll get more into those as we continue on. So when it comes to happiness, let me try to move my toolbar here, so forgive me if you have a little interruption on the screen. When it comes to happiness, as I was saying, many people don't feel it's a natural state of being. And so Sonia Lyubomirsky has done some extraordinary research. She wrote a book, The How of Happiness, in response to these numbers that came from her research, because she gained a little bit of notoriety and then felt like she had to clean that up a little bit when she announced that 50% of happiness appears to be genetic. About half of our happiness or positivity set point, as I like to call it, we can see reflected from our parents, our families. 10% of our happiness comes from our life circumstances, which is a little bit of a surprise because a lot of people think, as Sean Aker says, that happiness is on the other side of success. That when we get the job promotion, when we buy our dream home, when we go on our ideal vacation, that is what is going to bring us happiness. Unfortunately, we are very adaptive creatures and we adapt very quickly to those different situations. So while they might bring us external happiness initially, that tends to not last very long because we have already set new goals for ourselves, or we have changed those goals before we met the finish line. And a lot of times we get frustrated because we always seem to be working towards those accomplishments and never really being there to enjoy them. There's still 40% here that is in our own domain. The conscious choices, the things that we do every day, have a huge impact in our happiness. And that is so exciting because you can see now the benefits, why positivity matters, and how we can start to make choices that move our positivity set point. And as I already said, some people are working against a little bit more challenge biologically, emotionally, mentally. And in collaboration with other practitioners, with other modalities of support, when we build positivity practices and habits into our daily life, we are supporting that other work. We are helping that other work act more quickly, more effectively, and have longer lasting benefits. So how do we do that? What do we have to do to integrate this? Sean Aker, in his work, identified through research 5 different practices that, when done over the course of 21 days, helped study participants feel more positive. It wasn't do all 5 of these every day. Participants chose one of these 5, or in the different studies, they were asked to do one of these 5 activities that were found to be successful. The gratitude practice that many of us have heard of is one of those 5. And the reason it works, again, goes back to neuroplasticity. What we focus on, what we appreciate, appreciates. And so when we spend some time every day thinking about what we are grateful for, our brain is learning to put priority on those kinds of situations, those emotions that we feel. And so by continuing that gratitude practice, coming back to that state of gratitude, especially if we really savor that emotion, our brain not only attaches more importance to those, helps to file and preserve those memories, it also helps us to recognize those experiences as they are happening so we can actually have more happiness in the moment. Because I'm sure you have heard it before, and hopefully you'll never forget that happiness is really an inside job. It's not tied to those accomplishments. It's not sitting at the end of a finish line. It really is the satisfaction, the peace of mind, the contentment. We don't have to always use the label happiness. Whatever it is that resonates with you, the feeling of positivity that you can embrace and recognize comes from those simple experiences, interactions, and emotions. So random acts of kindness, a moment or 2 of mindful breathing, or exercise, 10 minutes of exercise every day. Those are some other of those simple activities that, when used daily, were found to raise people's positivity set points, not only at the end of 3 weeks or 21 days, but when participants came back to be evaluated later at 4 weeks and at 6 weeks, they were still feeling more positive than they were at the beginning of the study. So neuroplasticity has lasting benefits. But how can we make this even easier? What if I told you that a session like I was playing for you at the beginning of this meeting today has the same benefit? Let me tell you a little bit about what's baked into these video sessions and the photos that you saw. So those bright, beautiful smiles. Duchenne smiles, where the mouth is authentically and fully in a smile. You see it reflected in the eyes. Those kinds of smiles activate mirror neurons in our brain, just the same way that when you see someone yawn, you usually can't help but yawn yourself. Our brains are triggered by seeing some expressions, and not only by replicating the expression, but by also releasing the neurotransmitters that go along with those. So when you smile back and someone's smiling at you, ultimately dopamine is released in your brain too. We can fool ourselves into thinking we are already happy simply by smiling. So when we see these smiles in the sessions, it starts to trigger that response in our brains. Those bright colors and round shapes, children with bubbles, beach balls, balloons, those are things that have been found to spontaneously inspire joy. We are happy when we look at things that are bright colors, that are round shapes, rather than pointy or square or flat. So those you will see inside the sessions. Green foliage was actually found in a study of hospital patients to, when patients were able to see greenery outside their hospital window, they were found on average to heal about 30% faster. It's extraordinary, the benefit of nature, of feeling that connection to nature. So you'll see a lot of greenery and foliage inside the sessions. Social activity and support strengthen our recognition and appreciation for that human connection. It inspires us to create more connection. And actually, I love this little tidbit. When one person is happy, they don't only influence the people that they come into contact with. We have 3 degrees of impact. So the people that they connect with and the people beyond them. 3 degrees of influence when our positivity is higher. So think about the ripple effect we can create in the world when we put a priority on our own positivity. As I was talking about, the speed of the slides is variable, so you can change it to fit your lifestyle. Perhaps you want to mirror the screen to the television while the kids are studying or you're making dinner, and you have longer for each image to be on the screen. You can really savor those images. I like to have a Positive Prime session on the screen while I'm in a Zoom meeting. So while I'm staring at the computer, I have something that helps to keep my energy and emotions higher. You can also make it a short, powerful session, as few as 3 minutes. As I said, you still get to see all of the slides. And not only does it then fit into your schedule, but those affirmations, those images still are received by our unconscious brain, even if our conscious brain and eyes can't process every single image. And we actually are able to bypass our conscious objections. So if you're one who has trouble with affirmations, this is a way to begin to integrate those messages and those words without your skeptical mind trying to interfere and say, yeah, but, well, wait, let's take issue with that. So I love to vary the speeds of the sessions, and that is why we have that capacity. And those images shuffle every time. Like I mentioned, you're going to get to find that you look forward to certain images, your favorites, as you get to know the sessions better. And every time you watch a session, you're going to see them in a different order. Our brain tends to bridge images the way it does thoughts. You might have noticed when you read a sentence, you tend to take in a whole sentence because our brain likes shortcuts. So as you look at a session with images you love, with words of affirmation, your name shows up inside of your own session. You can add your own images, so perhaps there's a picture of you on your birthday, or you at your wedding, or your children at their graduation. Those images that bring you joy, or images of your dream home. The goals you want to reach at work, the things you want to create in your life. These all weave together, and when gratitude meets visualization, it is as if it is already present in your life. So if you're someone who, beyond affirmations, has ever struggled with those visualization exercises, this is again a beautiful way to invite your mind to consider what's possible. And as I mentioned at the top of our session, right now Positive Prime has a 30-day, completely zero obligation trial available. So considering that Sean Aker in his research found after 21 days people felt measurably more positive, I don't think you have anything to lose in diving into 30 days using this technology, watching a session every day to see how you notice. You might feel less triggered in stressful situations. You might have more patience when you are engaging with family and loved ones. You might feel you have more energy or focus at work. You can actually, as you see here, these are just some of the categories that we have over 100 different sessions to choose from. So perhaps you want to work on financial abundance. Perhaps you want to work on solving relationships, healing, leadership, simply happiness. You can choose something that you want to work on over a period of time or every day, whatever is coming up for you, and tailor your focus to those. And inside here are just some other details. So at the end of a 30-day trial, then you will be invited to create a membership. And again, you don't have to enter payment information up front. So at that point, if you want to keep your access to your sessions to the full range of benefits, you have a choice of subscriptions. You may choose an annual subscription, which allows you to keep access to coaching pearls. I'll talk about those in just a minute, along with all of the sessions. And then, of course, you may choose a monthly subscription, and then you can just go month to month. Still have access to all of the sessions and keep the photos that you can add during your 30-day trial. If you choose not to create a subscription and let that go, that's perfectly fine. You do maintain access to the session that you received as a gift from the person who invited you. So if, for example, you use my 30-day trial link, you will always have access to my session, Your Thriving Life, which I shared at the top of this meeting, or the person who shared their link with you. You'll always have access to that and another core session from the platform. So those will remain available to you. You won't be able to keep your custom photos uploaded, but you'll still see the sessions as they have been designed in their original format. And then if you have an annual subscription, you have access to Coaching Pearls, which is a really extraordinary new bonus that was created and shared just a few months ago. Kim Serafini, our founder, thought, wouldn't it be great if we could share some of the genius of our Positive Prime professionals and let you reap that reward? And so every day when you activate in the sidebar, in your dashboard, your Coaching Pearls, you get one new pearl, one 3-minute nugget of wisdom from one of the coaches, consultants, or leaders inside the Positive Prime community from a broad scope of focuses, extraordinary healers, visionaries. You'll get 3 minutes of their wisdom, one delivered every day for the course of 365 days. So if you do some math there, that's a lot of hours of free coaching that is included in your annual subscription. And right now that annual subscription is $199 US, or if you choose to go monthly, that's $19 a month US without access to the Coaching Pearls, but still full access to hundreds of sessions, plus maintaining your album of images so that you can see yourself inside of your sessions. So, and briefly, I want to come back to, didn't have an opportunity yet, but let me share this interesting insight. In my research and learning about the benefits of positivity, another researcher in positive psychology, Michelle Gielan, came to positive psychology from her work in media. She was a news anchor, and she was frustrated by the negativity that was perpetuated by the news. You probably have heard, if it bleeds, it leads, right? News thrives on negativity. It's what people will buy. Well, in her research, she found that people who watch negative news stories are then negatively primed and view other situations in their life experiences more negatively. They're looking for the negative. They're actually triggered by stress and looking for threats. And it lasts for hours after having watched a few minutes of negative news. So consider the alternative. Consider the benefits of positively priming your mind. What if every morning you started your morning with positive images, with pictures of you achieving your goals, with pictures of you and your family in your happiest and most joyful moments? What if you integrated all of these insights from neuroscience, the things that light our brains up with inner joy, and make that a part of your daily practice? How could that influence every day? Sean Aker wanted to include Positive Prime in his collaboration with Oprah when he was chosen to be part of one of her programs. And he had only recently been introduced to Positive Prime and felt so passionately that this was a very valuable component. He wanted this to be part of the program he was creating for Oprah's community. He had to do a little research because Oprah's team is very selective and said, we need to know if this really lives up to what you believe. And so his preliminary research found that Positive Prime sessions, watching for just 3 minutes, help to boost people's mood for up to 6 hours afterward. So it's really about a choice, how you want to move through your day. You may let negativity, may let stress shape your concerns and your focus. Of course, we're wired to keep ourselves safe. But what if you choose to prime yourself with positivity, to move towards positivity, to teach your brain that this is just as desirable as those stickier moments that don't bring you such joy? I hope you will join us inside the challenge. We have a wonderful group with a lot of activity going on, and it will help you stay connected and inspired to utilize this every day as you create this habit for yourself. If you have any questions at all, please reach out to me or to the person who shared this program with you. And all of us love and use this tool ourselves and would love to shine a little light on anything that you need any clarity. So thank you for this time, for joining me, and for considering what is possible. I'll see you online.